Hey everybody. Hap- Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well today.
That's number block 10. Number block 10. It's number block 10.
Welcome welcome to tonight's live stream.
You break.
It's over there. Go get it.
I get it too.
Hey Dry Rob.
It did not work.
What? It went back there? Sorry, hold on a minute. What? Go ahead. Oh, can you reach it?
Yes.
That's what you get for putting something in my face. You know I don't like it. I'll throw it.
It didn't work.
All right, watch it. All right, we'll get it later. Just go get the other one for now. See what happens when you put something in my face?
Yes.
We'll get it. Don't worry. How's it going? Hey, Sonia. Okay, it's closed. How's it going, ladies?
Oh, it open. It closed.
Oh, my goodness. Of course, he starts when I go live. Move. All right, play with the rest of them. Don't worry. Be quiet. I'll get them in a little while. That's what you get. See? You shouldn't have brought them over here. So, tonight's live is about 3 stories that happened recently. They are tragic, you know, but it's important for people to know about them. These are stories in the news going on right now that have left so many of us speechless. Hold on 1 minute.
You're talking louder.
Yeah, I'm talking louder. Yep, because you're making me mad. Sorry, guys. Hey, Sior. Is that how you say it? I know that's how Ashley says it. I was always wondering if that's how you say it. Shh. All right, stop. Go call him so he could get this. So yeah, so all these things I'm gonna talk about are stories that are going on right now and in the news. You know, they've left us, many of us, speechless and honestly heartbroken. We've seen Koya. That's how I thought it is, but I always heard her say it like that. So I was wondering if that was correct. Okay, yeah, I figured it was that way. All right. Okay, hold on, relax. Hey, Raw. All right, enjoy. Hey, Des. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Sorry, guys. He dropped blocks behind something.
Mm, mm,
And I can't reach it.
Elo? What? Elo?
It's just those two little blocks. But it looks like you're trying to get behind it. Get something to pull it up. Oh boy. Get Can you push it with that hanger? One of those hangers that are hanging right there? How's everybody doing? A bigger one. Isn't Be quiet. You see, this is what a brat does. A brat is crying about 2 blocks when he has 98 more. What a brat. So what you say to Jordan?
Thank you.
Close the door. Close the door.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, so now I can talk. Because now he got the blocks. Go close my door. Hurry up. All right, so yeah. So the 3 stories I wanted to talk about were of course, the mother in Texas accused of unaliving her 2 of her children. Also, I wanted to talk about 2 teen girls that unfortunately lost their lives subway surfing, you know, just trying to chase a thrill. And the mass shooting that happened in Montgomery and Alabama, where innocent people lost their lives after what was supposed to be a fun event. You know, these 3 are still in the media right now, and I said, why not talk about it? Um, you know, got to bring awareness to things like this. Of course, since I'm from New York, I'll start on the 2 teens that were subway surfing. Sonia, he's a brat. He's a big brat. But anyway, yeah. So since I'm from New York, let's talk about the 2 teens that were unalive by subway surfing. Is heartbreaking. A story that shocks me all the time. This occurs more often than it really should. You would think, these girls were 12 and 13 years old. You would think at that age they know right from wrong, and they know how you would think they know how dangerous that is. But unfortunately, they were found they were subway surfing on the J train near Brooklyn, New York, and authorities say that the girls excuse me, were part of a larger group, around 15 teens, 15 of them, who went in the subway late at night. Like, why were they in the subway late at night? First of all, 12 and 13 years old. Like, where were the parents? I don't know, but they went into the subway late at night. Some jumped on top of the train cars, and when the train went under an overhead structure, that's when the tragedy occurred. One of the girls' names was Zemfira, or Zemfira, and the other one was Eba. So Zemfira's father said she was bright, funny, and always full of energy, a little wild, but deeply loved. Um, Come to find out, she had posted daring stunts on TikTok several times.
Oh, no one fell.
Yeah, very crazy. Several daring stunts, on TikTok, including lying between train tracks as a train passed overhead. Like, what makes these kids do crazy things like this? Like, I guess it is for the thrill, but come on now. Oh my goodness. It's just so sad, you know? And come to find out that video that she was laying on the tracks, of course, it had over 200,000 views before it was taken down. And then her friend, stop it. All right. Shh. Oh my goodness. I got crybaby here. Hold on. Yeah, I see, but whatever. Just ignore them. They're helping with the engagement. I don't know. They must have their what is it? Their notifications on also. Like why for little old me? I'm nobody, But whatever. They must be miserable. But anyway, yeah, so that's very, tragic. Doing stupid things, but stupid things get you stupid, you know, get you in stupid situations. Her friend Eva was described as the quiet and sweet one, wasn't known to take any risk at all. Her family has said that she was probably just following her friend's lead, which that is something we need to talk about with our kids, about following the wrong people, about following people, period. You know, her friend, if she was quiet, because I know sometimes, kids do act quiet and sweet in front of their parents, and then they're a totally different person, outside with their friends. But if she was the quiet and sweet one and was led, you know, to her tragic death, you know, just trying to be cool, that's very sad, and we definitely have to talk to our children, about this. I know I talk to my kid all the time, like when Jordan, my 18-year-old, when he was, you know, um in his early teens, I would tell him, how stupid that is, right? Don't ever do that. I don't care if you're with a group of people and they're doing it. You better, say, see ya and leave them because that's stupid. Especially, like I said, this is not the first time that this has happened. And just imagine getting that call. Like, imagine getting the call from the authorities about something happening to your child. And these two teens, they were actually just found like unconscious by people passing by, and then of course the authorities had to come. So, or just imagine being a a person passing by and finding that scene, like two kids just unalive. Lower that a little bit, you know so this tragedy, brings us to something that's bigger: the pressure to go viral. you know Kids see other people getting clout for doing dangerous acts. Yep, exactly. They Why putting their life in danger? Crazy. Kids see other people getting clout for dangerous acts like train surfing, jumping between rooftops, hanging off buildings, and think, if I can do it, I'll be noticed. They want to go viral. Not so long ago, during the summer, across the street from me, there's a building. It's a brand new building too, I was looking out my window, and all of a sudden I see, like, cuz there's the main roof like all the way on top, and then there's like a second roof that's like midway into the height of the building. All of a sudden I see like three teens there, teen girls, mind you. Three girls. All of a sudden they like talking with each other, just standing there, but then all of a sudden two of them start sitting at the edge. Oh my God. Imagine me as a mother, you know, watching that through my window. Like, I was about to call the cops, you know, because I'm like, what the hell is this? Then if something happens, but they just sitting there with their feet dangling off the roof, like just dangling off the roof, like it was cool, you know? And then one of them stands up and is literally just standing like literally at the edge of this building. Like they were definitely, thrill seeking. And that had me so nervous just looking across the street and looking at them. And when I was ready to call the cops, they freaking got down. I'm like, oh my God, thank goodness. Because what the hell? You know? Yeah, hell yeah, I wanted to scream. Cause what the hell? Hey Jamaica, welcome in. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please double tap. I'm so used to being on the regular. Please hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, what the hell are these girls doing? It had me so like nervous for them, and I don't even know them, But experts are calling this form of risk validation where um online attention is replacing real world approval. They're just trying to be seen. They're trying to be somebody, especially if they're on social media. They're just trying to get the views and the likes. It's just stupid. In New York alone, subway surfing deaths have gone up nearly 400% from 2022 in only 3 years. That's crazy. And it's true because every few months I hear something, a incident happening where something bad happens from kids, and it's mostly teens, subway surfing, that they tragically end their life, you know? Supposedly the MTA is now going to be installing barriers, cameras, and they're going to get with the program with the new AI stuff where they're going to try to have AI monitoring systems to stop roof access, you know? But even the MTA has admitted that, it's not enough without, you know, common sense, education, and parental involvement. Yeah, it really is crazy. What do you think? Do you think is a parenting issue, a social media issue, or both? Or do you think, like me, I think it's just kids gonna be kids and they're gonna do whatever regardless of how the parents parent, because you're not with your kid 24 hours a day. So no matter how much of a strict parent you are, if even, well, I don't know, it says late at night, so I don't know what these kids were doing. Stop, Jackson. I don't know what these kids were doing out late at night, because that's when it says it occurred. So, but I don't know. Maybe they snuck out the house, or maybe one said they were staying over the other's house, because that's how kids do things too. You know. Thank you, Sonia, for that gift. I really appreciate it. If anybody would like to support my channel, please use that cash app that's pinned above. I greatly appreciate it. And also Sonia has posted it in the chat. Um yeah. So So sometimes I don't think it's really a parenting issue. I think it's just them trying to be, yeah, I think it's just them trying to show off, trying to show people that they're brave, and that they, and they're testing the other people too. They're testing the others to see if they're gonna do it too. So it's like maybe a little competition too. But yeah, social media is an issue, you know, especially if they're recording these things, they're just trying to be seen.
They like it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Move the block. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
People are literally risking
10.
their life for clicks because it feels like attention is the new, the new thing, the new currency, the new it thing to do. They want to just, be the center of attention. And now these young lives, you know, have been tragically taken away by their own doing, unfortunately. And what's even more crazy is that after these tragedies, you will see others trying the same stunts again, you know? And what do teens usually do? Or what they say? It won't happen to me. I know better. Like, even if they did it before, they'll say because they've done it before that it won't happen to them again, which, oh my goodness, it's so scary. But I know, unfortunately, it will happen again because subway surfing, riding on back of buses, jumping between the trains, even over here, and this all occurs in New York. The riding behind buses, the subway surfing, but even the jumping from roof to roof, and that's been happening for decades. Thank goodness I was never one of those people that said, "Oh yeah, let me be cool and let me jump from one roof to another." But these things do occur very often here. Hey, J. Lou.
I'm gonna play Lego, kids. Where's Lego good I play?
Yep, Jamaica. Jamaica says that, let me see, hold on. Jamaica says that, but then again, a lot of parents need to monitor what their children are entertaining on social media. Yep. And that is definitely true. That is definitely true. A lot of these kids, they will fight you over looking at their stuff because they think that, we're not entitled or obligated to look into their stuff. Like, no, we are. We need to know what the heck is going on with you and what you're doing when you're not around us. I need to know if I can trust you. But unfortunately, these things, been happening for a long time, and even with this one that has been a little bit more in the news than others, these kids are still gonna find that thrill to just try it, you know, unfortunately. So another one that I wanted to um, talk about, which is very very tragic, is the mother in Texas who unalived two of her children, and she actually, did it to all her children, but 2 out of 4 were unalived.
And you two, direct this world.
So Jackson, the mother, accused of shooting her 4 children.
I go to app
You know,
store.
everything I say is based on my research opinion, and is alleged.
What do you say?
Um, yeah, so this story this story comes out of Angleton, Texas, just outside of Houston, and it's one that's been haunting, I know it's been haunting me, you know, all weekend, and I know it's everybody that knows about it been talking about it. Authorities say 31-year-old Aninda Romulus is charged with shooting her four children inside her SUV on October 4th. Two of the children, her 13-year-old son and her 3-year-old daughter, were unalived at the scene. Two others, age 8 and 9, were critically wounded but are now in stable condition. Imagine that, having to see your mom take your two siblings away from you forever in that kind of way, and on top of that, hurt you as well. Imagine what these kids have to go through for the rest of their lives, you know? She's now being charged with 2 counts of capital murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Isn't it, Jamaica? It is so sad. It is so sad. Newly released court documents show that Romulus made I know made disturbing statements to officers claiming that children were with the devil and saying kill them all. People say she appeared paranoid, agitated, and was constantly looking over her shoulder, convinced someone was after her. Oh my goodness. You see, I'm always talking about how important mental health is. This is sad. So when authorities searched her home, they found ammunition, they found identificate IDs, they found credit cards and paperwork under different names. So now they're investigating if she had been involved in identity fraud or something larger that could have fueled that paranoia. Oh my goodness. Isn't this is so crazy, isn't it?
Mommy, I built a hat.
But the one of the hardest parts, investigators also discovered that she had a fifth child, a 17-year-old who was not with them at the time of the incident. That teen's safety and whereabouts were initially unclear, but as of this week, CPS confirmed that the child is alive and in state custody. Thank God. Oh my goodness. Imagine, not knowing where your mother is, where your siblings, and then all of a sudden hearing of this incident. Wow, all these children are definitely gonna need therapy, you know? This is so this is so sad. When I heard about it, I was like, "Oh my God, what the heck?" So I want to show a little video. Hello, who walked in? Who walked in? You hear me? Carla. Hey, Carla. So yeah, I want to show a video.
Two of them. This is 31-year-old Oninda Romulus, seen here in a 2022 mugshot from Georgia when she was arrested on drug charges. We're also learning Child Protective Services had previously been called to her home, but details of that case remain unclear.
Troy Kless has been following all of this since the weekend, and he spoke with the suspect's father earlier today. He's in Angleton for us tonight. Troy?
We've been working to learn more about Romulus, who is in jail, and any motive for the shooting. Meanwhile, in newly obtained court documents, we're learning about what Romulus told investigators after she was arrested, but a motive for the shooting is still unclear.
New details are beginning to emerge after 4 children were found shot in a car at an Angleton gas station. A 13-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl died. An 8-year-old boy and 9-year-old girl still recovering.
Brazoria County deputies responded to an unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy.
The kid's mom, 31-year-old Oninda Romulus, is now in custody, charged with murder, and according to charging documents, gave disturbing statements to the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office investigators who spoke with her after the shooting. Court documents obtained by KHOU 11 share Romulus told investigators her children were with the devil. According to the affidavit, law enforcement says surveillance video shows Romulus drove to this gas station off Highway 288 in Angleton, where she called 911. When asked during her interview why she called authorities, Romulus told investigators, quote, "Instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them," and continued saying, "Kill them all." Romulus lived at this home in Porter for just a few months with her 4 children, identified in court documents as Ocario Covington, Amora Chappelle, Kylie Romulus, and Traviel Downer. Neighbors telling our Orco Manna the children were happy and they saw them just a few days ago.
He always waves and we tell him hi, and they come back by, and I have a little Yorkie, and sometimes she'll stop and ask if she can pet the puppy. Just seeing them Friday, and they were happy and on their way, telling us hi and bye, and figuring I would see them again Monday.
The home is in the New Caney ISD. We reached out to the district asking if the kids attend school, and they replied stating while they're deeply saddened, out of respect for the investigation, the district wouldn't provide information about the individuals or their connection to our schools. Meanwhile, today, Romulus's dad told me on the phone from his home in Georgia he's trying to understand what happened.
Romulus is still being held on a $14 million bond. The surviving children are still recovering in the hospital. Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
Such a tragic case with so many questions. Troy Kless.
It really is sad, right? Lost for words. Wow. You know? So sad. You know? What are the children that are, still here with us? You know, what are they thinking? You know, what could they be going through?
Look, I built a portal.
You built a portal? Cool.
Yeah, and I built a portal.
You know, it really is sad. It really,
I'm gonna go build number
you
block
know,
6. I'm gonna go build number block 6.
it just really is.
Uh-oh.
Jackson, watch it.
Mommy. No!
So, you know, this story hits hard, you know,
And that is true.
because it's not just about violence. It's about, you know, mental health, a mental collapse. You know, Romulus had appeared on the show Paternity Court years ago also. Hey, Yolanda, welcome in. Thanks for joining. Please please hit that thumbs up for me. I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, she appeared actually in Paternity Court years ago, and some people online are speculating that she may have had long-standing emotional and psychological struggles. To me, it's definitely showing signs of, a psychological problem. Was she schizophrenic? Because especially saying, you know, the things she was saying, like about that the devil was with them, and and that they were saying to unalive them all, you know. Yeah, yeah, definitely gonna need therapy for the rest of their lives, you know. And the and what's crazy is that all those things, they went through something so tragic that they might actually want to go visit their mom. They might want to ask her why, you know. They might actually want to go to the jail and ask their mom why did you do this to us, why did you do this to our siblings, and there might be some, or one or couple, or maybe all of them, that choose just never to talk to her again, you know. Wow, you remember that episode? Wow, I wish I should have looked for the video clip of it so we could have seen it. But yeah, so you know definitely mental health is needed. I don't know, it, like I said, they did find things in her house, like identifications and stuff in not in her name. So I don't know, maybe she was planning to do that and then leave, who knows. you know we don't know what happened.
Let's do the portal tonight together.
The one I was seeing that a psychiatrist explained that this may be a case of psychosis or delusional disorder, where someone truly believes that they're saving their children from evil. Signs can include the sudden religious fixation or delusional thinking, that paranoia that people are out to get them. They might not be sleeping, they're deprived of themselves of sleep, and, it causes them to not think clearly, and then they, with that erratic speech, like, somebody's following us, somebody's out to get us, somebody's saying to unalive them, the devil's within them. Hey, Jazzy. Hey, Simple Family Lifestyle. Thanks for joining. I was just talking about, first I was talking about Jazzy, the two teens that were on a live subway surfing last week. I was talking about how that was so tragic and sad. They were only 12 and 13 years old. And then now I'm talking about the mom that unalived two out of her five children, because although four children were with her, there is a 17-year-old that wasn't there. So she actually has five children. So out of her five children, she sadly unalived two of them. So yeah, and and another sign, you have to pay attention to people that might be in that psychosis state, is that they believe that harming loved ones is a form of protection. So, what's tragic is that there were probably warning signs, moments where someone could had intervened, but they didn't know how, you know. Yeah, definitely sad. So how do we as regular people, friends, neighbors, co-workers, recognize when somebody is losing their grip on reality? Like, we do encounter a lot of people that are a little bit what we call, their screws are loose. We just we most of the time we just laugh it off like, oh, this person just has a few screws loose, but then what if, something like this happens? Like, and we know that we just laughed it off as just, a few screws loose.
I cut. Let's cut 7.
Yep, a simple family lifestyle. That is true. She says
3 plus 4 equals.
that she saw about the subway surfers and is getting out of control. Meanwhile, the authorities are more worried if people are not paying their fares. Yes, so true. Like, and then they recently, within the last year or two, they've been hiring these security guards. They're paying them real good too. And these security guards aren't doing shit for that. Pay these police officers more and have the police officers actually, in those, on the platforms, at the train station, at the turnstiles, things like that, so they can actually be watching. Because the security guards, they're just taking it out of paycheck, and they literally just be standing there and still watch the stupidity, you know they still watching the stupidity. But yeah.
I'll see you later.
But for about what happened in near Houston, definitely, well, everywhere. We just need more mental health checking, We need to not take things as a joke, because sometimes things like this do happen, even if you have to talk to somebody or a boss or something and say, oh, this person doesn't seem right. And then if they have to talk to a family member, usually you have to put your emergency contact when you're, applying for a job, or when you get the job, they still want to know an emergency contact just in case. If they don't seem right mentally, it's time to start calling that emergency contact person. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That in New York, we see so much of that. We see so many people, so many kids either subway surfing, hanging on the back of the train, or in the middle of the train, like in the middle of each train cart. And also, they hang themselves on the back of the buses. It is crazy. They stopped the train the next stop, and thankfully nothing happened, and officers took them. Yeah, that's crazy, But sometimes if you're like on the, if you're like on the L train, the high train, you're on the platform, sometimes you see the train like going by express in the middle, and you see kids jumping from cart to cart on top. Like, what the hell? You know? Eventually they do get stopped, because wherever the train is gonna stop, the cops do get alerted, and they wait for them at the train stop. But what about if it's too late? Yeah, hanging on the wagons. Oh my goodness. Yep. Jamaica says, look for change of routines, change of behaviors. My mom had a friend that was on the verge of ending her life. Wow. And what happened? Did your mom see the signs and get involved? Wow. Yeah, it definitely is crazy. You're from New York? You live in New York, or you used to live in New York like everybody else? You got out of here? Yeah, but we do have to pay attention to people's behaviors and how, if they change, and don't just think of them,
Mommy, I need pizza.
Jackson, there's no pizza. Go finish eating your chicken from earlier. Your chicken and French fries.
But
Do you think other systems offers enough support before someone hits a crisis point? I don't. I think that for myself, I think what I see is that, these, it's limited. You have to either be low income to get the help that's needed, or something tragic has to happen. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You left and you came back. You love the city. Oh, I was too quiet. Yeah, Jazzy says, no, not at all. Resources are very limited. Yep, and I do believe that. And you also can't force anybody to do something they don't want to do. Even with children, if you want to take your kid to therapy or whatever, if they don't agree to it, you can't force them. So it's all on, the individual, unless you get them held for that 72 hours or whatever, based on, you thinking something's going wrong, and you bring them, for that hold. But if they act regular within that 72 hours, they're going to be let go, and they're going to be back on the street to, you know, to do whatever they were doing before that got you, you know, putting them in there in the first place. So your mom took action, talked to her family, and got her some help. That was 10 years ago, and she's doing great. Wow. Thank God your mother actually, was paying attention, and that she reached out to her family. Wow. That's wonderful. Yep.
Oh
The,
no!
Sonia says the government,
Mommy, give me kiss.
wait, the government has truly failed mental health and DV people. Yep. That is definitely right. You know, with this tragedy, wait, let me check one more. So Jazzy says a lot of places are reactive instead of proactive. You have to have you have had to already done something to get the help. Exactly. You get the help when it's too late. Just sad. So the survivors and what happened after in this Houston tragedy, the Child Protective Services say they've had previous contact with the family. The two surviving children are still recovering in the hospital, but of course, under protective custody. A local church, held a candlelight vigil this weekend for the children that didn't make it. And one neighbor actually said that she used to smile, she used to wave, that they never could imagine that something like this could happen. That right there is scary. You just never know. You never really know what someone's carrying inside. You know, I don't know what really happened. So, I'm not going to blame anybody, because it could have been, that she did have a mental issue. And sometimes you just can't help it. If you're sick, you're sick, and you can't help it. But it's about, we also have to recognize the silent cries, for help that go unheard. We have to pay more attention and try not to mind our business too much, because we could be helping people in the long run.
Oh, you're hurting.
Hey, break room 411 in the house. Tiff the gift. Yeah, I was talking about some tragedies, so that's probably not your thing. I know you don't like things like that, but yeah, subway surfing teens were unalived, and then the mom that unalived two of her children's in Houston. Please hit that thumbs up button, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Share the live, share the live. Yeah. And now I'm going to get into what happened in Montgomery, Alabama, where what was supposed to be a fun weekend turned deadly. On Saturday night around 9:30 p.m., gunfire erupted downtown near the Alabama state capitol, leaving 2 people unalive and 12 injured, including a 17-year-old. The victims have been identified as a 43-year-old Shalonda Williams and 17-year-old Jeremiah Morris Jackson. Police say multiple shooters were involved, possibly targeting one person before others fired back, creating the ultimate chaos. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Hey, lady. Hey. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for joining. Please hit that like, share. If you haven't, subscribe, please. Yeah, so as of this morning, no arrests have been made. But investigators have collected dozens of shell casings and several pew-pews. The three-letter people are assisting in the case, and Montgomery's mayor says they've been reviewing hours of surveillance footage from downtown. How the heck? It's just crazy to me with all this technology, how in moments like this is when they can't find nothing all of a sudden. But if you was to steal a package off somebody's porch steps or somebody's business, they will find you right away. But something like this, something tragic like this, all of a sudden, no arrests have been made and they don't know who did it. Like, come on now. So the governor has ordered expanded patrols in that district and promised that more state support to prevent further violence. But what about the violence that just occurred this weekend? What about that? What is going on? It's crazy how something like that bad could happen, and these people that were involved are still walking these streets. Like, come on. So I want to just show the...
Stop the feet.
Well, this one's long. Let's see, I just want to... This is what happened.
So I think this is in Bibb Street and Commerce Street, excuse me. So this happened last night till this morning, excuse me. But also, this is not...
The people I saw
University's homecoming.
There was a lady that had
people
came
traveling
out
to Montgomery
of it,
for a weekend
out
of
of
fun.
the place, and she
said
that she was in the bathroom, and all of a sudden she heard the gunfire.
Prior to midnight in the busy part of...
Seen with me overnight and joins us live on location now. Emma, the chief called this, quote, not a typical mass shooting. What did he mean by that?
Well, Simon, Chief Grayboy says that this
try
was the
not to
result
go
of two
on
groups of
late.
people shooting at each
If
other
I wait for him
into a
to go to
crowd.
sleep,
But he couldn't give
I'll
too
never
many
come
more
on.
details than that, as this investigation is still in the early stages. In fact, Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed added that the shooting happened, quote, with police units within 50 feet of both sides. Now, this is the scene that our crew found
Hey,
around
Truth.
1 a.m. this morning.
Hey, Truth in
As
the
Simon said, he and
city.
I
Hey,
were on the
Kimberly.
scene
Hey,
and we
Rita.
saw
Hey,
the
Tommy.
streets littered with evidence markers. Cop cars lined the streets, dozens of them. There were purse contents spilled on the floor, and
Thanks
I
for
will never
joining,
forget the
ladies.
sound of the screams that I heard at that time. We spoke with the owner of Paradigm Lounge, which is near the scene downtown. In fact, it's right behind
So she
me.
said that
He
the
heard
lady I heard,
gunfire and describes the chaos.
I mean, I was in the office when everything happened, but I just heard a ton of shots. I mean, people started running inside of Paradigm, even in the office where I was. I mean, I can't even count how many shots it was, but it was quite a few people running. I mean, unfortunately, people laid out on the sidewalk. People trying to resuscitate.
He describes a truly gruesome scene there. Chief Grayboy adds that police have brought in people.
Yeah, so, it's just so sad. You go out to enjoy. You go out to enjoy your night, and then some, tragic crap happens like that. You're not safe no matter where you go. You have to watch your surroundings. The one of the girls that I saw, she was in the bathroom. She heard, the gunfire, and she started running out. Her cousins were out on the floor, and she was worried that her cousins were, something happened to her cousins, but then they ran out without grabbing any of their personal items, you know. So a lot of people had to wait all those hours, after the investigation to go back to Jackson. Had to go back to get their property. It's just so sad. So, there's a gun debate going on, that the shooting has reignited Alabama's gun control debate. The mayor criticized that the 2023 law that removed the concealed carry permit requirement, saying that it made it easier for people to carry weapons without accountability. The governor, on the other hand, is focusing on enforcement and visibility, promising for more troopers instead of more restrictions. And once again, the community is caught in the middle, tired, traumatized, and scared. You know? Yeah, it's always something. Hold on. And then, and there is always a debate about the gun laws. Should people be, should it be easy to carry? Should they have a permit? Should it be required? That's gonna always be a debate, because many people feel like, it shouldn't be required. But how do you guys think that we should stop this cycle? Do we focus on stricter gun laws, or on addressing the reasons people are reaching for the guns in the first place? Do you think our people, our culture glorifies the violence. I think that's, people don't like to fight anymore. It's always, if this person comes along, I got this for them. Instead of saying, if this person comes along, we're going to put up these dukes and may the best one win, That's how it used to be, Nobody was afraid of, that win or lose, In a fight, there's always going to be somebody that wins or loses, you know? But that was the good thing back in the days. You were able to fight and just keep it moving afterwards, Whatever happened, you fought, you got that energy out, that's it. Now it's like you have to show that that you're the man, or you're the woman, like you're the best. Yeah, Tamik, that happens everywhere. Yep. That's been happening since I started talking about online bullies. That's been happening. Losers, I tell you. They're losers. L7 losers. But anyway. But yeah, do you guys believe in these gun laws, or do you think that you should be able to carry without having a permit, or do you think um the all states should require a permit? Let me know what you think. Please hit that thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Hit that like, hit that share, comment, engage. Let me know what you think about these stories that I've been talking about. If you would like to, donate to my channel, it's right on the screen. I also have my coffee link in the chat. Oh, it looks like it disappeared already. But here it goes, just in case, I'm not monetized. And I'm just trying to get on my feet. But anyway. Hey, Jessica. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. Yeah, people are miserable, I tell you. Thank you. But that's engagement, guys. So let's thank them, the L7 losers, for engagement. Thank you, L7 losers, for the engagement. Kimberly says, I think you should have the right to carry, but they need to redo the laws on what type of gun you can carry and do better background checks. You're right.
Why?
Tamik said, I believe we should be able to carry to be able to carry without a permit. But what about with these young kids, or people that buy these weapons and then do things like this? How do we hold them accountable? Tamik says age restrictions, of course. Yeah. What you think, 18 and over or 21 and over? Hey, Miss Glenn, how are you? How's work going? Hope you're having a great day. So I was talking about 3 tragic incidents that happened in the last week. In New York, there was 2 teen girls unalived by subway surfing. And then I also spoke about the mother that tragically ended 2 of her children's lives. And then now I was talking about the massive shooting that happened, the mass shooting, sorry, in Alabama over the weekend. Lorraine says that 18-year-olds there in St. Louis carry AR weapons and nothing is done. Wow. And what do they carry it for? Do they uh, like what do they carry it for? Do they carry it? I don't know. I don't know about hunting, but do they use it for hunting or something? I don't know. Or is it just, is that their weapon of choice just in case something happens?
This one is
Tamik says that she wouldn't want her 90-year-old granny out there carrying. She got her. Okay. And Miss Glenn says there's too many weapons in the hands of untrained people. That's about right. Yeah, something, they have to, do better background checks. I mean, but even better background checks, you could be clean and then go out there and do something that you're not supposed to do. So I don't know how are they, gonna stop these things from happening. Lorraine says there's been a bunch of teens in our downtown area that carry them out in the open. Wow. Are they legal or are they illegal? Like, do they have a permit or not? Or is it not required there? Like, this is really crazy, A lot of these incidents that have been happening lately do have, have, besides the subway surfing tragedy, a lot of these things lately have to do with weapons. Ramika, a weapon. The Texas mom, a weapon. The mass shooting, a weapon. Weapons, because it was several people. Glenn says they should report on the national accidental shootings by gun holders. They don't know their weapon. Oh, so the AR guns, the AR weapons are illegal everywhere? Are they? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Supposed to have a permit. Someone older is buying them for them. Wow. So they just walk around with it like it's their purse. What makes them walk around with it? To feel what? Tough?
what's the big one? And you see them do that. Somebody wrong try again.
Wow.
Somebody wrong try again.
Something gotta give because now 2 people are unalived. So many people scared, and it's just sad. So when we look at these 3 stories together, a mom in crisis, teens chasing danger, and a city under gunfire, it feels like we're just staring at 3 different, mirrors reflecting the same thing. We're seeing the cracks. We're seeing the cracks in mental health care, in parenting, in parenting support, in youth education, and in community safety, and it's not just about politics, it's about human behavior. We're disconnected from the world, we're disconnected from our families you're just disconnected. We're overstimulated, and many of us are drowning in stress, social pressure, and online noise. And sometimes that pain erupts in tragedy, through tragedy, you know? Like, and is it ever going to stop? You know? Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate you. So, what you guys think? If you could change one thing in our system, mental health care, social media regulations, community safety, what would it be? What would you change if you had one thing to change? And if you are looking at this or listening to this after I get off, if you're watching it on the replay, please let me know in the comments. If you could change one thing in our system, mental health care, social regulations, social media regulations, community safety, like what would it be? And maybe it's not anything that I said. What would you change in our system? If you work with youth or families, what patterns do you see? Are you guys the type of people that notice the behavior changes and report it, to a family member or something before something tragic happens? I agree. I think it all starts with the mental health care, right? I agree too. Mental health care. So many things start with the mental health care, you know? And you have to be aware and look at these changes and behavior, especially if it's somebody that has children. If you see them acting different, if all of a sudden you went from seeing them always with their children to little by little not seeing them with their children, you have to ask questions. Don't just let them be and say, oh, the kids must be home, or oh, the kids must be doing, we don't want to be the ones that, see something later on in the news that could have been prevented.
I don't find the exit anywhere.
J. Lu says these bans specifically target certain firearms called assault weapons. Glenn says that she dealt with a lot of mental health issues in the low-income housing community. Yes, and what's crazy is that the low-income housing community are the people that have more resources than anybody. Because they have low income, there's so many free resources for them that they don't utilize, and that's sad. They deny the things that are so close for them to use, you know and it's sad. So many people think that, even if it's to go see a psychiatrist or something, that it makes you weak or something, and that is not true. If you need the help, go get the help, you know yes, exactly. They refuse to utilize the help that is available to them. Yep. Lorraine says that she wishes the police there would get training when called to a mental health crisis.
I'm scared.
They're sad.
I mean,
And even that, even if they're trained in that situation, everything goes so fast sometimes that you don't know what's gonna happen.
you. It's the way out.
Thank you for my coffees, Glenn. I really appreciate you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I figured that police do get that kind of training. I don't know if it's like countrywide, but I would think that they would get training. Yeah, you're right about that, J. Lou. But there's some kind of mental facility, especially here in New York. We have a lot of them. Like, there's no excuse except that they refuse the help, you know? And that's sad because you know how many people that can't, that are not in the limitations or the guidelines that would actually take advantage. Yeah, not computer literate. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. It's just sad all around. And I pray for the ones that, lost their lives. I pray for the children that survived and now they have to most likely, um, go to court against their mom and be in therapy for the rest of their lives. And just the people that, you know, were there for the incidents, the parents of the two girls that, lost their lives. It's just tragedies all around. Yeah, homeless rate is very bad and it's getting worse lately. It's getting very worse lately and I notice it every time I walk outside. I realize how bad it's getting. They're cutting funding. Yeah. Wow, they're cutting funding. Yeah, over here, little by little, they're cutting funding also. Jamaica said hi to everybody. Oh my goodness. Hey, Lily. Thanks for stopping by. Although I'm almost done here, I was talking about 3 tragic incidents that happened. If you could catch the replay, that'd be great. But yeah, yeah, history does keep repeating itself. You know, let's help the families do get the kids help. A lot of the times they don't. That's right, and when they don't get help, they keep, that's a generational curse after that. It gets worse and worse after that. Hey, it couldn't be me. Welcome. Hope you're doing good today. Now I get it. It's okay, Lily. I know. I have to do it through freaking talking with this boy here because, I have to act like I'm laying down for him to go to sleep. He's attached. And I didn't want to do another late night, so I just said, let me just get it over with. Yeah. Oh, Minecraft? Yeah, Jackson loves his Minecraft. Ay, ay, ay. He's playing Minecraft right now on his tablet, which he needs to go to bed, right?
Yeah,
It's time to go to bed.
I love Minecraft.
Yeah, you love Minecraft.
Give me a kiss.
Yeah, it's okay. Mommy duties come first.
Mommy, give me a kiss. I love you.
I love you. But yeah, everybody, please hit that like, share, you know. So, I know tonight's live was, intense and it had to do with a lot of tragedies, but we don't, but if we don't talk about these things, not a lot of people, some people don't watch the news. So if they do watch YouTube, this is the way they do find out things. So sometimes, you got to let people know what's going on so they can be aware. And like I said, watch those warning signs, watch those little changes in behaviors. And every tragedy we ignore becomes one step closer to happening again. So, thank you. Yes, please. Thanks, whoever watches the replay. I greatly appreciate it. Any questions I asked while we were going through everything, please answer in the comments. Engage in the comments, share. So I just want to end this with, if you're struggling, please reach out. If you notice someone is spiraling, don't stay silent. And if you're a parent, check in on your kids. Again, if you're a parent, check in on your kids. Ask them what they're watching, what they're feeling, if they're afraid of anything, how's their social, how's their social circle? Are people treating them the way they should be treated? Is there anybody bullying them? Just ask those questions. Check on your kids, because prevention doesn't start with the laws. It starts with us. It starts with conversations. It starts with us opening our eyes. So let's be the generation that listens better, acts faster, and that we actually love, the people around us, whether it's our family, friends, our neighbors. Let's be empathetic and sympathetic. you know so of course, when I talk about things like this, I always want to give a little bit of resources. I will also add them in the description. But of course, you dial 988 in this country for the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The NAMI helpline is 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Parent Helpline is 1-855-427-2736. And then there's a website for Safe Kids Worldwide. It's safekids.org. And for every town for gun safety is everytown.org. So, like I said, I will add those in my description. So anybody that needs them, you can have some, you can go back and look for them. Please use them if you do need them. So thank you to all my sisters that passed through. I love you. Thank you for supporting me. Yeah. So thank you. Wait, hold on. Yeah, always sirens. Sorry. So, thank you for spending your evening here with me. Please share this live, not only for to get in the algorithm, but for awareness. Let's make, caring, compassion trend again. So, thank you, Jamaica. Thank you. Good night, my sisters. You know, So let's make compassion trend again. Good night, everyone. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay you. And I will catch you on the next one. Good night, everyone. Say good night, Jax. Say good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Good night. Thank you so much for being here, as always.
many kids.